Good afternoon. This is Advocate Puneet Bhasin here, and I'm glad to address all of you in this TEDx talk. Now, considering the subject of my TEDx talk, one of the key things that I would like to start with or leave you with this thought to begin with is almost each one of us has been a cyber criminal at some or the other point of time. Knowingly, unknowingly, we've all been there and done that. It's just that maybe the extent of the offense may not have been such that there was action taken further. Now, before we delve into how each of us has been cyber criminals in different capacities, let's look at why and how this rise of cybercrimes in India has happened over the last 5 to 10 years. Now, it's very interesting. A lot of people end up saying that, there's a rise in the crime rate that is happening online. Let me tell you one thing. It's not the crime rate that is increasing online. It is just that the crimes that happen physically have now started manifesting digitally. So what's tending to happen is physical stalking is replaced by online stalking. In the same fashion, you will see physical thefts are replaced by online wallet theft. So today you don't have a pocket mar who's running behind to slice across your pocket to take money. You have a person who's sitting remotely, probably in an air conditioned room, and is just going to swipe out money from your wallet. So there is this kind of a replacement of physical crime. So the crime rate always existed, was always high. It's just that the modus operandi of these crimes has changed. Now, why do people commit such cybercrimes? Now, this is a common question that comes to any person's mind. Now, why is it a person committed a theft prior to there being digital mediums of committing offenses? So, there is no particular reason as to why a person is using a particular medium or committing these offenses. Crime per se has always existed. Criminals have had their own reasons for committing crimes. Now, if you will see, particularly with respect to cyber crimes, you have organized sectors, organized groups, and you have unorganized groups for crimes. Now, in these organized sectors, now they are the kind of attackers who are very well sponsored. They are the kind of people who have good funding, resources, very sophisticated, and honestly, to fight somebody as organized, it's not that easy at all. When you're talking about the unorganized attackers, they are the ones who are mostly amateurs. They're people who are trying to, try their hand at something like this. And they are the people who can also be disgruntled employees. So they are not that sophisticated in their level of capabilities. And they are the kind of people whom you can actually control to some extent. You can prevent these kind of attacks to a great extent. So, as I told you, amateurs, disgruntled employees, people or relatives who have had some form of bad blood with you, these are the kind of people who are cyber criminals, who are unorganized cyber criminals, not that sophisticated, and they definitely leave traces also because they are not that professional. When you're talking of the organized sector of cyber criminals, they are the kind of cyber criminals who are absolutely well trained, and they are this, there are different categories of them. Like you have state-sponsored attackers; they are the ones who are well funded by different countries, and these countries, upon their funding, training, are providing them the resources. So they are the very highly sophisticated category of attackers. You also obviously have syndicates, organized crime syndicates who come in the organized categories, who are well funded, well supported, having a full chain of people supporting them in this entire activity of cyber crimes. So these are the ways we bifurcate normally cyber criminals. Now, based on the type of cyber criminal that you're dealing with, you need to very well, as I told you, identify who is the threat actor attacking you. Based on that is what your next step and your action and legal recourse is always going to be. So if you don't have a clarity of the nature of threat actor whom you are being exposed to, the chances that you will be able to secure yourself or take the right actions is always going to be limited. Now, just to have an insight into the psychology of a cyber criminal. Now, what goes on in their mind when they want to do something like this? Again, very similar to what any other physical crime any other person who has committed any physical crime. The same thought process is what is there in a cyber criminal's mind also. But the only distinction that tends to happen here is the feeling of anonymity. So a cyber criminal thrives on the feeling that the chances of him being traced, tracked, and punished are comparatively remote and lesser as compared to a person who is committing a crime physically. So this kind of gives him a liberty or a freedom to do more, commit more offenses, do it, on a more widespread scale. The thought that he may never be arrested, or that there may be no tracking for him, or any manner in which he can evade a lot of these things. So that's exactly the mindset that most of them have. Now, when you talk about multiple cyber crimes, now when we're talking of financial crimes, we are talking about crimes which are related to stalking. The entire mindset is in this nature, where they can get away with as much as they can online, which is absolutely um, anonymous. But when we are talking about cyber criminals who are, let's say, committing offenses of cyberbullying, trolling, their mindset is something which is very different. Wherein basically, the more you are going to get aggravated, the more you're going to respond to them, it kind of gives kicks to people. So these kind of criminals are the ones who get more and more kicks out of your responses, your fear. They feed on your emotions and thought processes. So out here, it is very important for you to disconnect from these criminals and ensure that you are not responding to them. So irrespective of whether it's trolling, it's cyberbullying, the moment they cannot affect you, they lose power over you, and the whole interest in wanting to pursue you is not there then. The next important part that we would come to is, now, how is it that we are perpetuators of cybercrimes? Now, I'm sure quite many of you all would have gone about downloading videos of songs and movies. Is it always that you have paid for these videos? There would be multiple occasions where you have not paid for these videos, but you have availed these videos. Now, these kind of cases where you are availing the videos, watching them, streaming them, downloading them without paying for them. Now, this is where you have committed a offense too. There are multiple such occasions where people innocently are doing it. There are many times you troll somebody innocently. There are many times you are slandering somebody innocently. Sometimes you may have committed online defamation, where you have committed, you could say you have made any statements against your boss on some social media platform, which may not be true. So you would have done these things simply in innocence, but yes, those all constitute offenses. Now, when we see this in the entire light of, even we can potentially be perpetrators without ever understanding the same. Even the concept of being a victim in cyberspace, to some extent, is actually because of our own vulnerabilities. Now, if you just take a simple example of the online scams that are there, where people approach you with respect to, let's say, saying that you have won a lottery, and that you have to pay so and so amount of money, etc., and then post that you will be able to redeem your money. Now, why is it that people fall into this trap? The sole reason people fall into the trap is because of their own vulnerability. You may yourself have some need for money, funds, and these people know very well how to exploit human vulnerability. Now, largely, they will always target people whom they can, to some or the other extent, manipulate. So, either the entire motivation will be money, affection, love. So, you will see a lot of these scams would also involve online romance, where you will see them on multiple dot coms, fake profiles, or on dating platforms, or directly via email. Also, people tend to contact, which are again not genuine people. So you will have many such kind of interactions which you would have seen, where even you could say love is used as a tool of manipulation. So the human vulnerability is what is always exploited. So it's very important for you, if you ever realize or feel that there is something which is too good to be happening, you should really step back and think, if it's too good to be true, maybe it is actually not true. So if I genuinely have a need for money and somebody is just coming forward to give me money and offering me that, it's something that one should give 10 times a thought in their mind, that this potentially could be a very, very big scam. It's very natural. When you have a need for something, you are just going to alienate all the possibilities of it being, of somebody offering you money being anything which is remotely scammy at all, because you really want it. You want that your wishes are fulfilled at that point of time. That's also human nature. But you need to take a pause at that point of time, rethink at that point of time, and understand that everything that shines is not gold, is not diamonds. You genuinely need to take a pause, understand, why does somebody want to help you? Why does somebody want to interact with you? The moment you start asking these questions of why, and you start getting those answers, you will come to realize that whether this is something genuine or an absolute scam. It's always better to think before you leap, and it's very important to ask these questions with a very, very rational mindset. So these are few of the ways in which you can ensure that you are not manipulated by cyber criminals. Now you need to understand cyber manipulation is not just wherein people are just strung along a story and victims of a scam. You need to understand many times the psychological repercussions of such manipulation by cyber criminals is pretty bad. So if you will see, there have been online games wherein children have been manipulated, Blue Whale and multiple other such games which are there, the Momo Challenge and all. Now you need to understand that children, when being subjected to such kind of manipulations, the kind of, you could say, damage it causes to their mind. So children who have committed suicide in the process. So it's not just securing yourself from the manipulation. Many times dealing with the manipulation, and let's say if you are surviving out of such manipulation, then coming back to normalcy. Now here we spoke about children. It's not just children. Many times even adults, if you will see, coming out of such kind of a psychological manipulation is very, very difficult. So it is very important out there also to seek support, to ensure that you are thinking before you are getting involved with anybody online without having full credential verification. And very important many times to seek counseling. So today, in today's times, there are specific counselors who deal with people who are victims of cyber crimes, victims of cyber bullying, victims of cyber stalking, and they actually help and support these victims to understand and come back to a normal mindset, so that the entire disturbance of these incidents does not pursue them for a lifetime. So many times it's important to take that step of actually seeking help also. Now, there are cyber psychologists, there are people who are providing specialized services in this area to children, adults, women, men. So it's not that men don't end up getting impacted. So it's a very interesting thing that people only feel women and children. When they become victims of online cyber crimes, they feel disturbed, depressed, whereas men do not. But in my area of practice, I have seen there are multiple times where men are also highly disturbed. They also suffer from depression. They also go through the same mental turmoil that women or children do. It's just that maybe they don't talk about it that much, and they really never seek help. So it's very important, if in your family you have any man who has also faced such kind of offenses, it's important to take that step, get him counseling, get help for men also. Now, looking at the overall scenario, if you will think that you will be able to escape becoming a victim of cyber crimes, I think that's pretty remote. Most of us, not just as we started the entire discussion with the premise that we have all been perpetrators of cyber crimes, we have also been victims of cyber crimes. Now, again, in today's times, there will be not a single person who can say, I have never been a victim of a cyber crime. There have been multiple occasions you may be abused online. There may be multiple occasions. There may be fake content posted by you about you by somebody. There would be something or the other that has happened with you. So it's very important for you also to raise your voice, report it to the platform, report it to the police if it's a serious offense, involve your family if it involves something serious at that point of time, go to the law enforcement, take action. If it's not something that isn't that serious, definitely you should get the post pulled down, or you should take action with the social media platform or the online platform, whatever the case may be. You should take those steps. Now, with this, actually, I come to an end with the sermon which I was giving on safe usage of social media, safe usage of online platforms by not just women and children, but also by men. But with this, I come to an end of this sermon. One of the very important things which I would like to conclude this entire discussion with is cybercrimes can happen to anyone, anywhere. But yes, staying safe is in your hands. It's something that you can actually proactively take care of by always having your antenna standing up to know that you should never ever fall victim to some kind of a ploy which definitely is too good to be true. With this, I come to an end of with my talk. Thank you.